What's up, Blasianeers and Blasianettes? So, not too long ago, like just the other day, I got all caught up with the series, and I gotta say, I mean, like Netflix is doing it again, like once again, how they've treated Stranger Things, keeping things grounded in a certain decade, in a certain time era, and but not just with the story, but with the intros and everything. I mean, like this show is no different. I mean, it keeps you grounded in the '70s, and even some of the intros has a '70s feel to it. Even though they do time jump to like the mid '90s, and then it jumps back to the '70s. There's nothing 2016 about this show. I mean, nothing. Um, and I gotta say, I don't know why. So I mean, please don't ask me why. But going into this show, I totally forgot that it was like a bio story. Like with Grandmaster Flash and so on. So when his name was mentioned, I'm like, oh, okay. So this is a bio. Like, okay, a bio series. I don't know why I did not think that. I mean, like when it comes to music, I'm not a huge fanatic where I know every artist, like what their favorite color is, what their favorite shoes they wear, what favorite car they like to drive, and etc. I'm like in a little like in a little bubble. Like when growing up, I was never a massive fan of music. I did enjoy listening to music, but I just know music when I hear it. You know what I mean? I don't always know the song or the artist and etc. So I was more of a comic book geek, like growing up. But and with that all being said, this show, is a good education, like in the music field, especially, like, this is like the birth of hip hop, pretty much, and it teaches you how to flow and how how to rhyme your lyrics together, and even what how to the DJ and how to do remixes, like with them with record players, like with records, and all I gotta say is don't underestimate the crayon. For those of you who watch the show, you know what I'm talking about, the crayon. And it's like when once you understand what that phrase meant, you're like, oh, like wow. I mean, like this is for anyone who is like if anyone who wants to who's looking to make a career, or to try to make themselves a place in the music industry. I'd say this is one show that you should watch. And the two characters that I gravitated towards the most was Ezekiel and Maylene. They're the two people who have a strong passion for music, and they're looking to to go to head towards that. Well, or at least Maylene is really trying to do that, and Ezekiel is still trying to find his place, and he's still trying to find where he fits the most into this world, and Maylene already made her choice, and she's trying really hard to get there, and her father doesn't want her to do that, and her uncle helps her, helps her get to that dream, to grab a hold of that dream, and I gotta say, Maylene's father, he symbolizes my reluctance towards religious people. I mean, like, not saying a lot of religious people are like him, but enough people are like him. I mean, like, if you see the way he treats Maylene at times, like, especially when you start watching the show, it's just like, I mean, it is so outlandish. I mean, like the hell. And that's part of why I don't like to mingle with the religious people that much, because a lot of them are a lot of them are very judgmental, and a lot of them are just don't fully understand. You know what I mean? And I again Maylene's father is a very good example of that, and and he also, it's like, and also echoes, themes of how parents don't want you to, do a certain thing with your life. They only want you to stay grounded and to what they have planned out in their own minds, and sometimes that's not healthy, and like you got to push your way out of that, and then find your own place in the world, and that's what Maylene's doing. So I think she is the one who I gravitate toward the most. I mean, and Ezekiel as well. I mean, he has this talent, but he has to, overcome this fear that he has. Like that he let build up inside. Since he lost his parents, and he's staying with his aunt and his aunt's boyfriend. And also, I mean, a lot of the characters are really good, and Shaolin, I'm trying to think of what they fully called him, but like him getting caught up in the bad crowd, doing drug dealing here, and getting mixed up in shit, and he's trying to, and he really has a strong respect for Grandmaster Flash, and he's just trying to make ends meet, and he's like, and he keeps getting caught in these bad things. I mean, Ezekiel as well. Like, I think ever since him and Ezekiel became friends, and they started this big thing together. When they started to become, the Get Down, boys. Things just, they find themselves in very sticky situations. You know what I mean? And I gotta say, it really pushes you. It really, like it really. I don't know what to say. I mean, like this show is inspirational, like of how, you should, overcome your fear and do what you have something you really want to go for. You go ahead and do it. And I was really afraid that Maylene may get taken advantage of on her journey. Like where she would go through some very rough steps that she would have to, like that she would stumble over. You know what I mean? How you watch bio movies and you see how all these singers, you see their as they're on their way to stardom and in their career, they go through all these rough stages. Like whether if it's drugs or abuse or troubles with family or the law or a bad marriage and etc. I was afraid that Maylene, like was gonna come across something like that, like on her journey, like somebody was gonna try to take advantage of her, and I will say that someone does try to do that, like in the process, like saying, well, if you do this for me, then I'll get I'll put in a good word for you with this producer and blah blah blah, and but yeah, I mean, out of all the characters, I was most afraid for her, even though I should have been more afraid for Shaolin Fantastic, because he's the one who's doing the most fucked up shit, like, and pretty much, and but damn, I mean, this show is fantastic. If you have a strong passion for music, I'd say this is right up your alley, and if you're looking to do this, for a living, I'd say check this out as well. So, this is something to learn from, not from today's, hip hop music. No, no. I mean, I'd say, educate yourself with this and some old school music. But that all being said, this gets 4 chair spins out of 5. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, baby. So yeah, like I said, all the way back to Stranger Things. Netflix is killing it. They're really great at keeping you grounded in a certain era, and in a certain time period, and like that's where these two shows share a throne together. Everything else is basically in the current time, but these 2 shows alone, like one's in the 70s, one's in the 80s, it keeps you there. I mean, there's nothing that echoes it. There's no mistakes that I can think of where you see someone texting or whatever like that. There's none of that in there. So yeah, I'd say this is part 1. I'm looking forward to I guess the second half of season 1, if that's what it is. I don't know when it's coming. I mean, hopefully it comes sooner than later. Maybe it won't come until next year. I don't know. But hopefully, like either way, whether it's sooner or later, I'm looking forward to it. And I'd say this is definitely a show you should check out if you have not seen it yet. So go there and do it. What are you waiting for? Get over there and watch the show. But I will say that in the first episode, it's like an hour and a half long. It's like an hour and 28 minutes or something like that. And it's a good episode. It's really good, but it did not need to be that long. I'm sorry, but it really didn't need to be that long. They could have, shortened it down into an hour or a 53-minute episode. They could have done all that in a 55-minute mark. You know what I mean? But it was still a good episode. It's still good just to get through it, just to get caught up. But it did not need to be that long. It really didn't. I'm sorry. It really didn't. When I first saw how long it was before I started playing it, I kind of cringed a little bit. I'm like, why does it have to be that long? And then it didn't feel like a 6-episode part, first half. It felt like more like a 10-episode, like with that, first episode alone. But I'd say it's worth it, watching at least once, that first episode. And if you're really invested, you may like it enough to watch it again. But I'd say, like I said, it's a great show, and even for people who are not huge fans of music and are just fans of scope of a good story to be told, I say this is it. And I have to say, the actress that plays Maylene, I don't know about you guys, but when I saw her, I thought if they wanted to do an Aaliyah movie and it was done right, and it got the stamp of approval from Aaliyah's family, this girl would kill it. I think she would be great as Aaliyah. As soon as I saw her, I see her face and everything, and I heard her voice, I'm like, yeah, she would be a great Aaliyah if they wanted to do that if they wanted to tell Aaliyah's story right, and it was, and at the proper treatment, from her family and so on, this girl would kill it. That's my opinion. I don't know if any of you thought that, but that's what I thought. But yeah, so I'd say, check out this damn show if you have not watched it. Definitely. I know I keep saying that, but hey, come on, what are you waiting for? But if you guys enjoyed this review, make sure you thumb it up and make sure you click subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let me know what you thought of this show. And man, if anyone knows when part 2 is coming out, please let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.